Hello there. This is Tuesday, 9/29, and this is your independent task. And so I'm going to be reading you the directions, which are also your success criteria. I'm also going to be reading the text to you. This one's quite a bit longer than the one you did yesterday. And even though it's long, we really want to make sure that we are still following all of these steps, okay? So first, I'm going to go ahead and read you your directions and success criteria. Your very first step is to read your text once for flow. Don't do anything else but read. This can count as listening to my voice as well, okay? And just listen and understand. Step 2 is to read it for purpose. It's your second read. Your purpose, just like yesterday in this case, is to highlight your key details. These are the details that you think are the most important, that aid the most in understanding, and to help us to find our main idea, which is really, what is the point of this article? What is the article mostly about? Okay, now you might pick a few key details, but when we get to this step, we're only going to write 2. So you're going to write 2 key detail sentences in your table. Don't forget to use sentence starters to begin each sentence. I believe on this level, you may have them given to you. Depends on the level that you have. Using the key details that you found and wrote in your table, at that point, you want to decide your main idea. What is it mostly talking about? And you'll write that statement down. Now, remember, you are probably going to have more than 2 that you highlight. You're going to pick 2, though, to write down, the 2 best ones. Also, I wanted to point out, like I said yesterday, if you prefer to do step 5 before you do step 4, if you'd rather flip-flop these, that is fine as well. Okay. We're going to go ahead and jump into the article. If you are reading this or listening to this, the first time, just listen all the way through. You can repeat it, right? You can go back if something I said was unclear, but don't do anything as you're listening. The second time, I would highly recommend that you pause at certain points to highlight. Unlike yesterday, there were natural breaks in the text yesterday because of the subheadings. Today, there are not. Well, there's a couple, I guess. So I might say pause at some parts, but if you need to pause and I'm not saying pause, go for it, okay? All right. The overall title is Animal Instinct. Hours before giant waves pounded coastlines in South Asia, many animals started behaving strangely. In Sri Lanka, that's near India, elephants trumpeted frantically and fled to higher ground. Bats and flamingos deserted low-lying areas. That means they left low-lying areas. Many other animals escaped unharmed. Wildlife experts are amazed that many animals survived the tsunami. The series of huge waves killed thousands of people in South Asia and East Africa in 2004. Experts say animals might have sensed the approaching waves and moved to higher ground. So what that means is that somehow they had an instinct. They felt it somehow in their body, like they knew something was wrong, which is something that a lot of experts say animals have that we don't, which is really interesting, okay? So it says, I think animals can sense disaster. They know when things are happening in nature, said an official at the National Wildlife Department in Sri Lanka. By the way, here's a picture of an elephant, and it has the photographer's name here. And then it says, elephants' sharp senses may have warned them about the tsunami. Okay, more wild stories. So here's our first subheading. Other stories of odd animal behavior before the tsunami have also surfaced. Giant waves flooded low-lying parts of Yala National Park in Sri Lanka, uprooting trees and killing hundreds of people. Wildlife officials reported, however, that few animals died. The park is home to hundreds of animals, including elephants, monkeys, leopards, tigers, deer, and water buffalo. Oops, this got moved to the wrong spot. I'll make sure I fix that. In Thailand, elephants carrying tourists from Japan bolted for the hills, and other elephants broke free of their chains. In one fishing village, nearly 1,000 locals escaped safely after birds squawked madly. That's very interesting. So these are other instances besides the tsunami where animals seemed to sense the disaster before it happened. Okay, our second subheading. If you are reading a second time, you want to make sure that you have something from the first subheading. Okay. Making sense of it. Why might animals have known trouble was on the way? Forget special powers. Instead, experts say that animals have better senses of hearing, smell, and sight than humans do. Those sharp senses help warn animals when natural disasters such as volcanic eruptions or earthquakes are about to happen. It doesn't surprise me that animals had an early warning of the tsunami, animal expert Michael D. of the Los Angeles Zoo told Weekly Reader. The senses of certain species are far stronger than what any human has. D points out that dogs, for example, have a stronger sense of smell than humans, and cats can see better in the dark than people. Scientists say that animals might have felt the vibrations from the earthquake that set off the tsunami. So remember, vibrations are like when something is shaking a little bit. And as we know, in an earthquake, the ground shakes a bit. And often we're not going to feel it immediately, especially because usually there are some things that happen before and after the main earthquake event. So there's already some vibrations happening in the earth even before the main event. And so they may have felt those vibrations, is what they're saying. Okay. Oh, here we go. In addition, many animals, including elephants, pigeons, and dogs, can also pick up infrasound. That is a sound that is too low in pitch for humans to hear. Elephants can hear or feel other elephants grumble up to 2 miles away. So they probably felt the earthquake, said Dee. Their first instinct would be to move away from the direction of the sound. An instinct is a natural, untaught behavior or reaction. Okay, so it's something they don't have to think about. They just feel it and know what they need to do. Kind of like sleeping. We all know we need to sleep, and eating, right? We don't really have to think about it. It's a natural behavior, right? Before the tsunami struck, animals may have started to flee because they saw other creatures running. Animals take their cues from other animals, said Dee. Okay, if you need to pause now, go for it. We're going to be moving on to this new subheading. The mystery continues. Okay. How animals sense danger has fascinated people for centuries. Most scientists are quick to point out, however, that nothing has ever been proven. That's interesting. I didn't know that, actually. Will animal instincts be used to create a warning system about natural disasters anytime soon? I wouldn't count on it, said Dee. In the meantime, animals are helping out in other ways. For example, elephants are assisting in the cleanup of areas hit by the tsunami. Hearing with their feet. Next section. Scientists say that elephants can pick up vibrations from earthquakes through their broad feet. That's kind of what I was talking about. Elephants' toenails are in the skin and not attached to the toes. Elephant soles, that's the bottom of the feet, have sensitive foot pads that detect vibrations, that's those shakes, such as those from an earthquake. That signals elephants to move to a more stable ground. So I heard that they can feel it in their feet, at least elephants. They didn't necessarily talk about other animals as much with the feet, so we don't know specifics, right? And I also heard that they can hear that infrared. Wait, I think I said that wrong. Infrared is not the right word. something. Oh my gosh, where was it? Infrasound. Aha. Infrared is a type of light. I was like, that is not correct. Infrasound, that they can hear infrasound as well, that allows them to have that sense. Okay, so feet as well as the sound. Okay, so there's a lot of information here, and you're going to want to really think about, what is this article mostly talking about? You know, in this case, I'd almost maybe start with my main idea, because there are so many details, and really think about what details help us understand that main idea better. Okay, what is the most important thing? There's definitely extra fluff information in this article, so be careful not to get confused by the fluff. Okay, now, here you've got your table. Once you've highlighted, which you should have done at this point if this was your second read. If it isn't, go back and listen again and highlight. Okay, but if you've done read 1 and 2 and you're ready to go here, like I said, start here or here. It does not matter too much. Pick the best key details, the ones that truly help you understand the main points of the article, the most important points, not the fluff points. Then you're going to want to tell me what the main idea of the article is. What is the article mostly talking about? Okay, what do they really want the reader to know overall? If you do not have sentence starters already provided for you, use whatever your teacher has provided to you to refer back to. All right, good luck.